Congressman Lynch has tested positive for COVID-19 despite receiving both doses of the Pfizer vaccine. His office saying, quote, while Mr. Lynch remains asymptomatic and feels fine, he will self-quarantine and will vote by proxy in Congress during the coming week. So just how common is this? Let's bring in Fox News medical contributor Dr. Marc Siegel. So Dr. Siegel, help me break this down. He got both shots, still got COVID, yet is asymptomatic. So what do you think is happening here?
Well, Jedediah, good morning. Listen, he's 65 years old, and if he gets COVID-19, the chances are that he would probably have some symptoms. So I think, and I can't prove this, that he may be in the group that is not in the 5% Pfizer vaccine failure, but points out a different thing, which is even if you're immunized, even if you're fully protected, if you come in contact with someone with COVID-19, you might get virus in your nose and test positive. Now, what does that mean in terms of stopping spread to other people, which is part 2 of a vaccine? Part 1, protect yourself. Part 2, protect those around you. Answer is we don't know yet. But out of Israel, the data out of Israel for over 200,000 people looks like someone like Congressman Lynch, if he remains asymptomatic, may not only not get sick, but have a decreased rate of spreading it to others, which is what we're hoping for. It's also possible, by the way, that he's not fully immunized yet 9 days after getting the vaccine. But I think it's more likely that he just caught the virus in his nose from his contact but won't get sick. It's a new way of thinking about it.
So remind us again, when you get the shot, how long does it take before you get immunity? You're saying 9 days may not be enough. What is that time frame?
Well, so after the second dose, Pfizer is saying about 7 days, but it's actually 7 to 14 days. And the time when you can be really sure that you got the full benefit out of the vaccine is 2 weeks after the second dose, when you would get up to that 95% protection for sure.
Okay. All right, doctor, we have another topic. The Biden administration, it's been reported that they have lost track of 20 million vaccine doses. What happened here?
Well, first of all, this is a wake-up call that we need more federal oversight than we've seen. But we have about 50 million doses distributed. About 30 million have gotten into arms. About 5 million of those are second doses. So that's another way of saying, Jedediah, that some of this may still be in freezers waiting to be second doses. I believe that the numbers are going to come up towards each other as time goes on. Some of this is second dose differentiation, but I also believe that the federal government needs to know what happens to vaccines once they get to the states. Where are they? What freezer are they in? Who's going to get them? We need more federal oversight, and I think we're heading in that direction, especially with the national vaccine centers, pharmacies involved. Pharmacies are much better at tracking this than places like clinics. They have databases that the feds will plug into. The pharmacy involvement will help.
Yep, that's a great point. You have a new op-ed out. It's titled Deadlier or Not, the latest COVID-19 mutations and you. Obviously, this is a big topic, the mutations, particularly one coming out of the UK. I was reading last night that some are saying that it's more deadly, it's more contagious. Not sure how true that is. What do you make of the mutations, and which one should we be watching closely?
Jedediah, great question. I think people out there need to understand why this is happening. This is an RNA virus. It's got a lot of genetic material, and it proofreads itself. It looks for mistakes. It doesn't mutate as much as HIV or flu does. But if you have this much virus around, tremendous amount around the world, you're going to see variants spin off. And you know what the variants want to do? They want to survive. They want a survival advantage. And the way they survive is by spreading more rapidly. So we're keeping a big eye on the United Kingdom strain, on the one in South Africa, on the one in California here in the United States. The one in South Africa worries us because it seems to be that it evades the vaccine. And as Dr. Sapphire said yesterday on the show, by the way, the solution to all of this is vaccinate everybody and stamp down the variants before they emerge. That's what's key here, and that's what we have to do. We can still beat this.
Dr. Marc Siegel, thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jed.